Yeah, the jacket's not happening anymore. Not until fucking October or some shit. And the beard is the thing that attracts the spittle, so get rid of that as well. I'm on Parler, folks. Come to Parler and follow me. Link in description. Link in all descriptions from now on, so you don't need to ask me again. All right, word and stuff. I'm gonna do a comment section puppet show now by popular request, and only by reason of popular request. I tend to be cautious of the possibility of someone deliberately trolling their way onto one of these kinds of videos. And it's a little suspicious how quickly this person switched from concerned trolling to flat out sassing as soon as I entered the conversation. I smell a rat, to say the least. But, as I said, a fair few people expressed excitement at the possibility of this thread becoming a puppet video. Plus, I did say I was going to work harder, even if it means doing the obvious. I definitely don't have enough puppets for all of you. I pinned this a little too early. And I have no fair system for deciding who's in and who's out. So I'm going to strip this all the way down to a duologue between protagonist and antagonist. I'm sure you'll understand. All right. Before we proceed, I will supply some clips for context. That might be a little more illustrative than simply enter Balthazar Wolf. But there's your intro. Let's go.
They don't care that we just have cardboard!
You're part of the fucking problem.
They're a part of the system. They're a part of the problem. Just they're black doesn't mean they're not a part of the problem.
I wasn't talking to you, sir. I'm talking to white dude.
I fucking saw you! What the fuck is wrong with you?
I feel sorry for your family. You're a piece of shit.
I'm allowed to say this to whoever. Because I'm white.
Oh, because I can't be racist, right?
No, sir. I was talking to him.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it doesn't fit your agenda.
Systemically, no, sir. Systemically, racism can only be white.
Racism is a white person's problem. Racism is my problem. I need to fix it.
Tell this bitch ass nigga, this bitch ass nigga, bitch ass nigga.
American approach is a sin flag.
Please don't get close. You're in an eye, sir. I don't want to get COVID.
How the fuck do you sleep at night?
How in 13 layers of tropical hell do you sleep at night? Dude, calm down. People have been hateful, oppressive, dishonest, manipulative, selfish and cruel since the dawn of time. Busting an artery over it isn't going to help anything. It only makes your life worse. If you want to change it, then do so. This rant isn't getting you any closer to changing things or helping you in any way. You look unhinged. If the hinge appears unhinged, it is because I have unhinged it. That is what the hinge is for. Wow, dude, you're so enlightened and clever. Tell me more things you heard in preschool. Dude, calm down. Oh, damn, you said the thing I said. Consider me BTFO'd. Except I'm not the one screaming at the top of my lungs so hard they're spitting everywhere and drooling. So it really doesn't make sense. I do enjoy conversations where we never address what was said, but choose instead to morally grandstand about meaningless aesthetics. Let's see. Your username makes you sound like a medieval furry. You'll never do any of the things you want in life with a fruity moniker like that. You look silly. For your next insightful contribution, might I recommend trying to insult my hat? That's always a hoot. Considering I think morality is an incoherent, self-contradictory concept, I didn't think it was like me to judge anything by its tenets. So I looked back at my posts, and sure enough, I never mentioned it. Odd that! You may have confused me with someone else. I've also addressed everything that was said, except your childish hinge pun, since it was just a substanceless and irrelevant silly attempt to sound clever. There wasn't any real information to address. So again, because your statement directed at me claims I said things I never said, I think you have me confused with someone else. As for my username, Balthazar comes from one of my favourite characters in Chrono Trigger, who happened to have a unique name. Wolf was included because Balthazar was obviously already taken, and I like wolves because they're interesting animals. I'm well aware that makes me sound like a furry, though I don't get the medieval part, but I really don't care about other people's irrational associations. And yet you're expecting me to care about yours. What reaction did you think you'd get? My God, you're right. Never mind the totalitarianism sweeping the globe. The real issue here is my emotions and how I need to change them to suit you. Thanks, Sensei. My life is better already. Sometimes anger is deserved. And sometimes you get what you fucking deserve.
That was totally what I was expecting you to say. After all, the phrase is, I agree with your point. There are better ways to express yourself, and if you want to change it, then do so. It's referring to the current state of policy. All clearly convey the message, never mind the totalitarianism. Apparently you're too busy throwing a temper tantrum to actually read any of the things you're responding to. But you don't actually intend to actually respond to anything I say. Your only intention is to insult me for daring not to kiss your ass. Your ego was hurt, so you'll happily make things up about what I've said if you think it gives you a way to insult me. This childish tirade isn't helping solve the issue. Those who don't already share your worldview simply see you as insane and associate that with your opinion. Further, screaming at the top of your lungs isn't even good for you, because it riles you up and causes you to be more stressed. Venting can be cathartic, but only if done in such a way that it doesn't rile you up further. And before anyone accuses me of concern trolling, I'm not pretending to care about you. I'm simply sharing my opinion because something about the human psyche drives us to do so, and thus it's simply fun for me.
It's become quite clear who you care about, B. As you concluded, venting can and does feel cathartic when you do it right. Sure enough, when I finished making this video, I had a cool shower, cracked open a cold cider, and I put on some music, and I danced around my bedroom without a care in the world. I had a freaking awesome time. Why didn't you know that, B? It's because you weren't there and you can't read my damn mind. So how are you claiming to have insight into something that you cannot possibly know anything about? Why do you think you know people better than they know themselves, even when all you've seen them do is perform for an audience for 25 minutes? I think it might be because you disapprove of the things I'm saying in the video, but since you can't think of any arguments against those things, you're making up a psychodrama in someone else's head and wagging your finger at that instead. Or maybe you're just offended by loud noises. I don't know. I can't read your mind. I haven't insulted you. I don't dislike your username at all. I actually quite like it. It's rather striking. I was doing an equivalent of what you were doing, in the evidently naive hope that you would recognize what you were doing. See how you offered a considered explanation for each word in your username, the context, the backstory, the justification for it all. You feel the need to explain yourself at length when faced with an unsubstantiated emotional judgment. Yet for some reason it never occurred to you to ask me for so much as a smattering of an explanation before you plunged headfirst into your unsubstantiated emotional judgment. Well, I just gave you the explanation. I had an invigorating time yelling at the world, and then I had a good time unwinding further. And then I had a good time reading the 1,500 comments telling me this is one of the best videos I've ever done. In many cases, precisely because of the very thing with which you take issue. I could listen to you, and I could listen to the 3 or 4 commenters who are only interested in discussing spittle, but I hope you don't feel insulted again if I instead go ahead and appreciate the positivity in the world, now that I've got the negativity out of my system. I will not be reciting my scripts in a softer, gentler voice just to appease you and all the other telepathic Karens who you're absolutely sure would be tolerant and accepting of the political statements they call hate speech, if only I was a nice guy about it and perhaps addressed them all as milady. I suggest you too find a way to get the negativity out of your system. First step, yes, it is there.
It's not necessary to read your mind to know that you're human and that your body functions like a human's does. Going on these rants where you're yelling at the top of your lungs absolutely increases stress, unless you have some defect which causes your brain and hormones to function differently from the rest of humanity in this regard. If at any point someone would ask me whether a rant like this can be enjoyable, I wouldn't deny it. However, I simply don't think it's worth the increase in stress, and making this a habit is definitely bad for your health. That's my preference based on my values, and maybe you have different priorities, but I'm not telling you to change your priorities. I'm merely sharing my opinion, as my psychology drives me to, because it's fun!
In summary, I don't think I'm a mind reader at all. In other news, you are stressed, and you cannot tell me you're not.
I am not wagging my finger at you, morally or emotionally judging you, nor am I offended by anything you said. I was explaining that and why I do think it's in your best interest to behave this way. Again, with the implicit idea that it's based on my own preferences. I didn't ask for your reasoning as to why you behave that way, because it wasn't necessary for me to enjoy the simple pleasure of saying why I wouldn't behave that way.
I'm not wagging my finger at you in any way. I just don't think you should be doing what you're doing, and I'm gesturing so as to say so.
I didn't really feel that it was necessary for me to explain my username. I merely did so because it's enjoyable for me to talk about it.
I love the sound of my own voice.
Whether you or other people enjoyed the rant really isn't relevant to anything I said. I'm not trying to tell people they shouldn't enjoy it. Again, I'm merely sharing my opinion.
Other people's opinions don't matter to me. Mine does.
I'd be very impressed and surprised if you managed to convince a significant portion of the people who call this kind of thing hate speech, and I'm certainly not suggesting you try. What I am suggesting is that if you want to convince people, your best bet is to take a more tactful approach, because this does have the potential, if done correctly, to convince those people who aren't yet convinced of either your position or that of the progressives.
That can't be done. In other news, that can be done, if you do what I say.
As I said before, and you ignored, of course, I don't actually disagree with anything you said, and any progressive who disagrees would essentially make the argument that what you say is happening isn't happening. So the idea that I disagree but have no argument is obviously false. But honestly, if me telling you that I don't disagree isn't good enough for you, then I guess you'll have to be delusional. I don't really care much, because the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying doesn't make what I'm saying any more correct or incorrect.
I don't disagree with you, but I do have an argument. I don't care, though, so the end.
If by negativity you mean negative emotions, then I certainly wouldn't deny that I have that. I'm not especially feeling anything negative at the moment, but I do have these emotions. I wouldn't want to get rid of them, though. I do think it's best to ensure you're in control of your emotions, positive and negative, so as to avoid self-destructive behaviour, but it's impossible to get rid of them, and they do have usefulness, so I wouldn't even want to if I could. I actually quite loathe the cult of positivity rhetoric, and I prefer to retain that loathing.
I am experiencing no negativity, and I don't want to get rid of it. Getting rid of negativity is impossible. To repeat my central thesis, you need to get rid of your negativity. Do more, this is fun. Pro tip, just say straw man 7 times. Everyone in the galaxy will be super impressed by your brain. Alright, skip. Boring, skip.
I was never concerned about him. I don't care if he harms himself. I never expected nor intended him to change his behaviour from my comment. I saw a video, thought a thing about it, and then expressed what I thought, because doing so is satisfying. I was never trying to help him, and nor did I ever pretending I was doing so. Venting and screaming at the top of your lungs like a madman are 2 separate things. Screaming like this does increase stress. Yes, it was scripted, but a fake smile still releases dopamine, and a fake rage still releases cortisol. It doesn't matter whether he's controlling the hinge, he's still unhinged. What I wanted in posting my first comment was merely the satisfaction of expressing my thoughts. What I wanted in my responses to others was the satisfaction of breaking down arguments and explaining ideas. I don't really care about the attention. In fact, I'd rather not have it. But with the internet, it's something you have to accept.
You beauty. Primal scream therapy? What's that? Screaming loudly can only possibly cause stress. That's why nobody likes heavy metal. The singer, the audience, and all the moshes, they don't find any of it fun or rewarding in any way. They're all constantly anxious and terrified because of the cortisol coursing through their veins. There's no dopamine involved anywhere. Trust me, I'm clearly an expert in expressing oneself correctly. The only way to release dopamine is by being pleasant and quiet. That's just scientific fact. Your lives would objectively improve if only you would listen to me, but I don't care if you do. I'm just expressing myself in whatever way I see fit, and you can't tell me I'm doing it wrong. By the way, you're doing it wrong. In short, I don't care, but you should. Are you sure you don't disagree with what I said in the video? Because you sound like a level 9 Karen who just rolled out of the rough end of Chaz. You are quite welcome to listen to Enya as you curl up in a beanbag with some pumpkin spice latte, while being constantly obnoxious to strangers who never ask for your opinion and clearly don't agree with it. You're still doing it, by the way. Great job not caring, you cool kid, you happy camper, you quiet, pleasant dopamine flood of a person. But brace yourself, Karen. Not everyone has to be like you. And you really haven't sold us on it. So go to the rioting racist thugs destroying our civilization around you and the media shitsmiths carrying them on their lying shoulders and tell them your airtight theory on the importance of being quiet. Unbelievable.
There's too much literally not what I said at all in that supposed summary for me to address it all without this being way too long. So I'll just say that all any sane person has to do to know what I actually said is scroll up, and it's pretty clear. You're just flat out lying. Ah, yes, sick poisoning the well there, my dude. Am I supposed to sit here and virtue signal about how I have the correct opinion to be allowed to criticise? You claim I'm trying to read minds, but I assume you're human. Then you come up with this whole conspiracy theory of baseless, random claims narrative about what opinion I hold merely because I think throwing a tantrum isn't healthy. I mean, to make so much out of a totally insignificant offhand comment is just insane. It's like the paranoid schizophrenic who thinks the cashier is following them around, trying to find the right moment to take them because they smile behind the checkout counter. Get a grip, man! Why you should think I should only give my opinion to people who agree with it is beyond me. But if you don't want to hear opinions you don't agree with, I might suggest you take the Shives approach and just block the entire Earth. Or you can stop being a baby about it and just get over it. You spineless types always did like your echo chambers.
Again, sterling job teaching us how to be calm and hinged. But let me make this clear. Please be as loud and angry and confrontational as you like. I appreciate it. It is a perfectly human reaction. Wait.
You claim I'm trying to read minds, but I assume you're human.
Dude, what the actual fuck? Are you serious? Listen to me very carefully. I experience anger. I express anger. And that does not make me less human. Do you understand that? Holy fucking shit. Yeah, and now you're calling me a paranoid schizophrenic because I rejected your advice. Your arrogant, grossly uneducated advice that you repeated like 12 times, no matter how comprehensively it was refuted. The fuck was that bullshit about dopamine and cortisol? That was laughably wrong on every level. Have you even heard of adrenaline? Do you think that might be a factor? Do people enjoy activities that pump up their adrenaline? You are a demonstrable moron, mate. You say provably false things over and over again, and if anyone disagrees with you, they're inhuman and mentally ill. Fuck me. Here's what people do when they genuinely don't care. They go somewhere else and they do something else that they do care about. Now, you don't have to do that. I've never blocked anyone on any platform. You are welcome here. Your thoughts and opinions are welcome here, but they will be challenged if they are found flawed. If you're going to keep up this charade for even longer and get even more palpably worked up about it, at the very least, you should stop lying to yourself that you don't care. It's embarrassingly juvenile. If you take just one thing away from this exchange, let it be this. Nobody cares how much you care. The idea that you think anyone would is all the explanation we need for your teeth-grindingly self-righteous behavior. Oh, and no. That's another important takeaway too. I have taken note of your advice, and the answer is no. Do learn to try and take that for an answer, at least without getting far more pissy and unhinged than the person you're judging. Or, by all means, tell me no. And then feel free to fuck off and do something you care about, while convincing yourself you don't care about that either.
Intellectual charity sure isn't your strong suit.
Dude, read through what just happened. Until my last couple of posts, I've been exceptionally polite with you. My first response was, but I'm doing it on purpose. A perfectly coherent and concise answer, which does address your claim and logically disputes it without outright rejecting it. And you responded very pointlessly and sarcastically, Wow, dude, you're so enlightened and clever. Tell me more things you heard in preschool. I said, calm down, dude, which by that point was already just as applicable to you. And your next pearl of wisdom was, oh damn, you said the thing I said. Consider me PTFO, except I'm not the one screaming at the top of my lungs so hard they're spitting everywhere and drooling, so it really doesn't make sense. You've been a petulant, childish dickhead right from the top. Intellectual charity. Good God, you're a joke.
I'm not saying you're less human.
I thought you were stressed because I assumed you were human. Given that any emotional state whatsoever is just as human as any other emotional state, why would you make a specific assumption about my emotional state just because I'm human? You're human, therefore you must be feeling a specific way. Why not you're human, so you must be hungry? Or you're human, so you must be pensive? It doesn't make any sense, you fool! Unless you are so fucking arrogant that you will dictate to other people what humanity is. And that's precisely what you did. Own your stupid shit, please.
I don't need to read people's minds to know that. If they touch a hot stove, it will hurt. How do you know I feel pain? I never said I feel pain. Stop pretending you can read minds.
You didn't see me touch a hot stove, you chode. You don't know anything about my circumstances before and after the video. If you see someone screaming, do you automatically assume it must be because they're in pain? No, you assume it must be because they're stressed. Even when they are reciting a script to an audience. Because you don't need background information, you don't need explanations, and even when they're given to you, you reject them and substitute your own preconceived impulses yet again. You're raising your voice, so that must mean you're talking to people far away. You're shouting really loud at that puppet. You must really hate that puppet. No, no, and no, you fucking weasel ass. If the only thing you're interested in discussing is people's emotional states, an already worthless endeavour in my opinion, then maybe try asking people what they're feeling, rather than assuming you already know everything and then being a nasty little piss baby when presented with the possibility that you don't.
I say the way you invented the whole narrative about all these off-the-wall political beliefs and what I'm really doing behind the scenes is the crazy narratives paranoid schizophrenics invent.
Okay, so when I say, I don't know, I can't read your mind, or are you sure you don't disagree, those are the invented narratives, unmistakable hallmarks of a crazy conspiracy theory. But when you say, you must be unhealthily stressed, there is no other human explanation I can see, that is a perfectly healthy and grounded and indisputable theory. Genius.
I am doing something I care about. I care about enjoying myself, and conversing is enjoying.
Actually, you're not enjoying this at all. You're hating every moment of it, and you're having a nervous breakdown. That's what humans do. That is you. That is what I'm dealing with from you.
You know, because it's possible to care about some things and not others all at the same time.
Bravo. You only care about yourself. You care about telling people what's what and telling them what to do and insulting them when they disobey you. You do not give a ghost of a fuck about anyone else or anyone else's opinions or anyone else's honest testimony. You don't give a shit, and that's fine. But this is why no one in this thread gives a shit about your opinions either. Why would we? But it is certainly amusing and baffling that you still think we should. Your next response: I don't think anyone should care about what I say at all. I'm just enjoying saying it. My following response: I am also enjoying what I'm saying, both here and in this video. Your first, last, and every response: no, you're not! You can't be! This is also why no one is taking you seriously, because it is fucking impossible to take such internally inconsistent, selfish flip-flopping seriously, unless you get a highly influential job in politics. Then you can force people to do what you say. You'll never have to care about what anyone else says, but everyone else will have to care about what you say. It's an extremely lucrative line of work in this political climate. Is that the career you're planning on exploring? Because I assumed you were human.
Being polite has nothing to do with an intellectual charity. Intellectual charity means attempting to interpret an argument as being as robust as the ambiguity will allow.
But I'm doing it on purpose, a perfectly coherent and concise answer which does address your claim and logically disputes it without outright rejecting it. If you could do us all a favour and read the entire sentence I said that specifically fulfills your criteria, rather than just cherry-picking one word and pretending it's the only thing I said. Yeah, that would be great.
My point wasn't, you're human, therefore you must be feeling a specific way. It was, you're human, and humans feel a certain way in this situation, therefore you must be feeling a specific way.
That is still wrong! Humans feel a certain way in this situation. No, they fucking don't. And definitely not if the situation is a performance. Humans are different. Dude, genetically we're practically identical, but psychologically they're everything from pacifists to psychopaths. That certainty of yours is the problem here. When someone is shouting at the top of their lungs, there are multiple reasons they could be doing that. God damn it, dude, you're never going to get anywhere.
You're human, and humans feel hungry when they don't eat food. You haven't eaten food, therefore you must be hungry. Again, what you're missing here is nuance.
You didn't see me starving. You didn't see me touch a hot stove. Each example you've given so far necessarily requires you witnessing a conclusive event or circumstance from which you could begin to deduce an emotional state. What did you witness me doing that proves beyond any doubt that my shouting is caused by or is causing stress? For the 15th time, nothing. People scream when they're singing. People scream when they're doing comedy routines. You are not privy to any of the information that you are admitting you need in order to make that judgment. That is the nuance you're talking about, the parts of the story that you made up in your fucking head.
All I said was that screaming like that increases stress!
Still wrong. You are a woeful ignoramus trying to prop up your bullshit opinions with breathtakingly bastardized attempts at appeals to human psychology and biology. Would you like me to explain, again, the billion-dollar industry of screaming at the top of your lungs into a microphone in order to entertain people? Entertainment relieves stress. Dude, that's why people enjoy it. Why do you think people become heavy metal singers? Is it because they're trying to stress themselves out? They would be mild-mannered bank managers, but for some reason they'd rather stand on stage making themselves indisputably distressed for 2 hours a night. How many more examples do you need of people I entertained here? This is making me happier. This is making other people happier. I am telling you this directly from the horse's mouth, and 20% of the audience actively liked this video, while less than 0.01% disliked it. That might be an all-time record ratio, even for me. But I'm positive you're in the right, oh fortune teller, oh noble soothsayer. You're the one punk in the room who would rather bitch about my emotional tone of voice than even acknowledge the insane bullshit that is currently turning the world upside down. Because that is where your priorities lie. Never mind the governmentally excused mindless violence. Never mind the governmentally forced separation of families. There's no acceptable reason that this will make anyone want to express rage. What really concerns you is when people get a little too heated about that nightmarish situation that's been avoidably forced upon us. You're a fucking scumbag, dude. Seriously, go to Chaz. You belong there.
Yes, all you did was ask innocent, unassuming questions. Like, are you sure you don't disagree?
That is a question! You might not recognise what a non-rhetorical question is, since the only move you know is skipping over all the questions and simply telling people what they're feeling.
And suggestions that I support rioting racist thugs destroying the civilization around you and the media shitsmiths?
Go to the rioting racist thugs destroying the civilization around you and the media shitsmiths carrying them on their lying shoulders and tell them your airtight theory on the importance of being quiet. Can you point to the part of that sentence where I suggested you support these people? Because to anyone but a transparently duplicitous liar like your cunt self, I clearly suggested, albeit sarcastically, that you should perhaps tell them what you're telling me. How the fuck is that suggesting you support them? I'm saying maybe you should hassle them like you're hassling me. Yeah, hassling becomes support. Somewhere in the murkiest peat bogs of your imagination, go tell it to them becomes you already support them. You are useless. You are less than useless. You are a counterproductive, bald-faced liar, and you prove it every time you talk. And by the way, You are indeed yet to say a single bad word about that specific eruption of violent thugs. Even though they have expressed much, much more excessive tantrums than I have, they are even being violent about it. Very violent. That does seem quite starkly to be one of those things you don't care about, because you seem to have walked away from it and started bitching about stuff you do care about, namely lecturing the unlawfully imprisoned objectors about their inappropriate anger to being unlawfully imprisoned, while racist thugs have carte blanche to burn the world down. What a hero. I can't imagine why anyone wouldn't salute you and drop to their fucking knees.
Never mind the totalitarianism sweeping the globe. Oh, no crazy narrative here. Move along.
You.
People have been hateful, oppressive, dishonest, manipulative, selfish and cruel since the dawn of time.
Except for now, right? All that shit disappeared from society about 4 weeks ago. Since then, it's just been mostly peaceful anti-racism protests in which 27 police officers get mysteriously injured. Sure, dude, you don't excuse that shit at all. It's just not important to you. Bitching endlessly and pig-headedly at anyone who gets pissed off about it is what's important to you.
I do care about people's opinions.
Just not mine. Or anyone else in this thread, or anyone else unless they agree with you. You don't even care about the long-established facts about how hormones work.
The issue here is that your stretched to the breaking point fragile ego can't handle the fact that I don't care about you or whether you accept my opinion.
He said, adamantly trying for the 10th time to get anyone to care about what he's saying.
You'll have this whole argument about, again, the most insignificant little offhand comment.
Pro tip. Don't bother saying things that are insignificant. By definition, they are not worth saying. And kindly don't get your knickers in a knot when someone says, that's an insignificant thing to say. And maybe don't go on saying another 100 equally insignificant comments. You think I should talk more quietly? Well, I think you should talk more significantly. I might be upsetting some snowflakes' delicate sensibilities by making loud noises, but you are, by your own admission just now, wasting everyone's time with insignificant shit. Not just once, B. Over and over and over again.
Keep throwing a fit about how people don't care about you enough.
I will. People don't care enough about men or white people. If you don't understand that, I have to wonder why the hell you've been watching my channel for years. Have you just been hate-watching this whole time? Or will you simply take the things you believe and callously, brutally abandon them as soon as one white man pisses you off? Legend.
Sorry if this is a boring end to your little video, but there's not a single argument in there that is anything other than an argument I've addressed at least 3 times, or an argument which assumes I'm saying something totally different from anything I actually said. In either case, I'd just be repeating myself, and that's tedious. I hope your video does well. You don't have to thank me for the helping you pay your bills with free content. Best of luck to you.
See? You're getting the hang of it now. Just say a variation of straw man, and then elaborate no further whatsoever on what I got wrong, or what you ever got right once, let alone 3 times. We'll just have to take your word for it. Apparently, at least 3 of the passages in this epic thread are the ones that vindicate you from any mistakes, but we're just going to have to look for them ourselves, because you can't be bothered defending yourself. As for repeating oneself, at least twice I had to repeat the scientific facts about hormones that you haphazardly butchered beyond all recognition. You are still yet to admit your indisputable mistake there, or even attempt to substantiate it. Do you know how long it took me to pull up the quotes of mine that you tried to strawman all the way to hyperspace and back just now? All you said was, I've been polite. Suggestions that I support violent racist thugs. I proved your lies to be bang to rights lies, and it took me seconds. Dude, it is noob-level elementary interneting to do that, but you feel no need to do the 2 brisk steps of legwork required for you to stand on your own 2 feet and remind us what you really said. No, no, and nay. It should be the duty of everyone whose face you maliciously spat in just now to take up your slack for you and do from scratch all the research that proves you're a blameless fucking saint. Because why should you have to defend or justify your statements? You're obviously already correct by default. Beginning, middle, and end of story. Top tier pro gamer move there. That is the elite combo breaker that instantly refutes all our thoroughly elaborated explanations as to exactly how and why You've been talking petrified lizard shit this whole time. You found the magic spell. Well, that's me, Pwned. You are such win, dude. And don't apologise for being boring. Don't worry about it. We filled in for you. And this content isn't free. I'm earning it. No response as of yet. From Balthazar Wolf. You know, I said I was going to go down swinging, and I meant it. They speak of punching up and punching down. Well, I am on the way down. As each day passes, there are more and more people I can punch. Once upon a time, it was in my interests to try and attract new people to my channel, to try and grow my subscriber base, but that is no longer an option. YouTube has decreed in no uncertain terms that it is not going to happen. So, nothing left to do but preach to the already converted, as it were. I am here for my core audience, as that core shrinks down to a red dwarf. Brown dwarf might have been funnier there, but I'm pretty sure it's hate speech at this point. Dealing with defeatism has become a problem unto itself. A problem that I suspect has been engineered as such. For any creators out there who are new to this whole shadow banning shenanigans, welcome! My heart simply bleeds, it really does. So the powers that be have left you with two options, and two options only. Admit defeat as soon as possible, or go slowly insane. I like to think it's possible to maintain a healthy sense of defeatism with which to balance oneself against the only other option. Ploughing on with whatever the fuck you're doing, not having any idea what the fuck is going on. The only option that is not an option is assuming you've won. Because absolutely nobody is winning right now. Except the fundamentalist nihilists who freely admit they want to watch the world burn as they die. It's a good time to be you guys. Or it would be if you guys believed in such a thing as a good time. In other words, fuck these times. Fuck them right in the fuckhole. Hi, future generations. Yes, it was fucking insane to be living in these times. For the love of all that is love, do not let it happen again. Assuming you still have electricity and running water and all that. Alright. Good luck, everyone. Follow me on Parler. We won't have long before the virtuous freedom fighters shut the whole site down for promoting freedom instead of fighting. See you soon, somewhere. Over and out.